I park on Ravenhall Road in Ravenscar, with the visitor centre just below. At a cluster of signposts, I take the Cleveland Way towards Robin Hood's Bay. The path leads me downhill, green hills rolling inland under spring sunshine. Soon the view opens up, with a pond, a farmhouse, and the bay curving north. Looking east, Stoopbrow rises steeply above the fields and the coastline. I drop through woodland, catching glimpses of the sea through bare branches. Through the trees, Ravenhall Hotel perches high on the clifftop above its golf course. Out of the woodland, bright yellow gorse lines the narrow path towards the coast. At a junction I turn left along a concrete track, still on the Cleveland Way. The track curves towards Low Peak Farmhouse, with the coastline wide open ahead. A wooden signpost points the way down to Peak Alum Works. I reach Peak Alum Works, where alum was produced for over 200 years. The scale was extraordinary, 100 tonnes of shale for a single tonne of alum. Burned shale was washed in stone-lined pits and the liquid channelled to crystallise. Now in National Trust care, the spoil heaps and stone remains bring the past to life. I pass a handsome stone barn and rejoin the clifftop path heading north. This is a highlight of the walk, with the narrow track hugging the cliff edge above the bay. Above Miller's Nab, the sea shimmers turquoise and deep blue beneath me. I press on above High Scar, and Robin Hood's Bay draws noticeably closer. A crumbling wartime pillbox perches at Peter White Cliff, its firing slits still facing the sea. Below, golden sands run north beneath the eroded cliffs and a red-roofed farm. Boggle Hole takes its name from a hobgoblin said to haunt a cave in the cliffs. The youth hostel here is a converted corn mill at the foot of a wooded ravine. I stop at the Quarterdeck Cafe for a well-earned rest. The tide is well out, revealing rock pools alive with anemones, crabs and starfish. Steep layered cliffs frame a charming boat-shaped shelter down by the water. I head on from Boggle Hole, and Robin Hood's Bay is now clearly in sight. The village tumbles into view, red rooftops packed tightly down the hillside. On the beach, a vast wave-cut platform lies exposed at low tide. I climb the steep main street through the lower village, past old cottages and tales of smugglers. Higher still, pubs and narrow alleyways are tucked into every corner. At the top of the bank, a bright red collection box for the Shipwrecked Mariners Society catches my eye. I rest on a village green, with benches and spring daffodils all around. Nearby, the Victoria Hotel has overlooked the village since 1897. I walk along Thorpe Lane, where the Methodist Church catches the spring sunshine. Next comes St Stephen's Church, built in 1868 for the parish of Fyling Dales. A large war memorial stands near the entrance of this fine Gothic building. I turn onto the Cinder Track, with Ravenscar 4.5 miles ahead. A bench by the hedgerow offers a peaceful view across quiet fields and rolling hills. The track passes through a green tunnel of trees, their branches arching overhead. Through a gap in the hedge, Ravenhall Hotel is just visible on the far cliff top. I walk beneath an old stone bridge, its arch reclaimed by ferns and moss. The station master's house at Fyling Hall is tucked beside the track, now a private home. A grander bridge carries Bridge Home Lane overhead, warm stone draped with trailing greenery. This was the Scarborough to Whitby Railway, opened in 1885 after years of delays. The line closed in 1965, a casualty of the Beeching report. It is now the Cinder Track, a 21-mile route for walkers and cyclists along the coast. I look back to find Robin Hood's Bay bathed in afternoon sun. Stoopbrow Farm appears on my right, its stone buildings linked to the old alum industry. Ewfield House, a neat stone cottage, marks my progress as the track climbs south. I rest on a bench carved with the words "All things bright and beautiful." The view from here truly is. The coast is spectacular, green fields running down to the cliff edge. I reach the old Brickworks, part of ambitious plans for a grand Victorian resort. The resort never came to be. Too remote, too steep, too ambitious by far. The Brickworks carried on, and there remains now line streets that were never built. I follow the path through bracken on the final stretch, back to Ravenscar. The last bridge appears ahead, a stone arch framed by bright spring colour. Through the arch, Ravenscar comes into view. What a wonderful walk,